All right, so now I'm going to go over all the questions that we've had by our users. So Nico asked, why footer and not header? What is the tech difference? All right, so like I mentioned before, Magic Zap has to go in the footer and not the header. And if you really want to get technical and you want to know the technical difference, that is because of the DOM. So there's a thing called a DOM. It's called the document object model. It is essentially your website and all the different elements of your website. And what happens is in the header is the very first thing that loads. And a lot of times the scripts in the header, they will actually load before the DOM is actually ready, before the DOM is finished, before all your actual elements on the website are actually put there by the code. Then those header scripts will start before all that is finished. They may or may not be finished. And since what Magic Zap essentially does whenever it creates custom landing pages is it manipulates those DOM elements, and it's going to go find those DOM elements. And if you put it in the header, then what could happen is some of those elements on the DOM may not actually load up. Magic Zap will not actually be able to find them, so it will not actually be able to replace them. So in order to assure that it works every single time, you need to put it in the footer, because the scripts in the footer will not run until the DOM is handed back to the browser. The DOM will be handed back to the browser, which means all your elements are actually successfully loaded on the page, and then Magic Zap will be able to work properly. So that's technically why you need to put it in the footer. All you really need to know is to always put it in the footer. All right? So, Gemma says, what if it is going to multiple people? Can you enter more than one name? Well, that is your URL parameter. So yes, I mean, essentially if you're sending it to multiple people, what you would do is you're gonna have this, name equals John. You're gonna send this URL to John. You're gonna send this URL to Stephen. You're gonna send, this URL to Betty.
No,
and
he's asking Betty and John, like multiple people.
If you're gonna send it to multiple people, yeah, sure, you can put Betty and John there if you want. I mean, you can put whatever you want in those URL parameters. Hey, Betty and John, I made this landing page for you. So if that's what you're asking, yes, you can put multiple people in that data, sure. Let's see. All right, so Gemma also asked, someone mentioned that we should make the URL longer so that they don't see all their info in the address. Is that something they should worry about, or does that matter? So that's a question that I get a lot. A lot of people ask, does it matter if somebody sees their data in the URL? And it doesn't really matter that much. Some people may not like it, but just so you know, we do have a new feature that's going to be getting rolled out sometime next month where the users will never see the data in the URL, because what will happen is you'll send them to the URL. Magic Zap will actually grab the data from the URL, stick it inside the cookie, and then actually reload the website without the data in the URL, and they won't see the data. So what will happen is you'll turn the cookie option on. You'll send somebody to the URL with your data inside the URL. As soon as they hit that website, Magic Zap will essentially grab all the data, pull it out of the URL, stick it in the cookie, and then reload the page without the data in it, but still display the data so that whenever they're looking at the URL, they won't see any of that data in the URL. That is something that we're going to be releasing right around probably the middle of next month. But no, it doesn't really matter. If you want to make the URL super long, that's completely up to you. But no, it doesn't really matter, Jenna. So hopefully that answers that question. Gemma says this is really amazing. Gemma also says, what params do you need from Zapier in order to use this software? Well, I don't know what that means, but all you need is a Magic Zap account. So you need a Magic Zap account and a Zapier account. You don't need anything else. You just need to do what I showed you how to do inside the automation video or inside that, yes, in the automation video, and that's all you need. You don't need anything else. Let's see. Any other questions that are here? Jim asked, don't most Facebook pixels go in the header? Yes, most Facebook pixels do go in the header, but that's because they're independent of the DOM. They don't have, I mean, it's just a tracking code. They don't need any information from the rest of the website. They just need to know that some data from the URL that a particular user came to your website. So, but that is not a question that has anything to do with Magic's app, but I'm going to answer it anyways. So so Jim also said, so you are sending this to 100 people, but you want them all to have individual pages. So yes, that's exactly what this allows you to do. So for example, to give you an example, all right, and I guess some people don't understand simple stuff sometimes, so just let me give you an example, all right? So for example, all right, let's go into one of our friends' text in bulk, all right? So I'm just going to show you this example to answer your question because I think people are a little bit confused. Like, how does this work for everybody? All right. So let's say you go into text in bulk and you have a list. All right. And inside this list, you have people's names. All right. So how does this work? You're just going to click this button, select all these people. You're going to put inside your URL. And whenever it says name, you're going to put in your merge field. All right. So you'll put in your merge field, name. Now, every person will get sent the exact same link, but whenever you send them the link, it will be their name. All right. If you want to do it in ClickFunnels, you can do it inside ClickFunnels. All right. If you want to do this from an email inside ClickFunnels or whatever your autoresponder is, you can go into ClickFunnels. You can go, let's say, to broadcast in ClickFunnels and Actionetics. You can create some new email broadcasts. And you can pick, let's say we're going to use some template or whatever. And then inside this template, you can do the exact same thing. So you can go in and you can put in this link. Oh, not there. You can put in this link. And then ClickFunnels lets you put in as well the merge field. So ClickFunnels lets you put in that merge field, which is dynamic data. So it's going to be the same website that you send everybody to, but what's going to change? What's going to change is the fact that every time you send out this email, ClickFunnels is going to say, okay, first I need to put that dude's name there. First I need to put this other dude's name there. And now they're all going to get the same link, but the only thing that's going to be different is that individual URL parameter with the different piece of data that is dynamic from your autoresponder. That's essentially why URL parameters exist, is so that you can send multiple people to the same website and you can actually track data. You can send data with that website as well, so that you can actually do some tracking. All right, so that answers all the questions there. So let's come over here. Jendell says, here's one I've been thinking about. What's the best way of use for all the Tier 5 softwares in conjunction with building an agency from absolute scratch? So that is not a question that's pertaining to Magic's app, so I don't think I'm going to answer that here. I think that's a question that you can ask in our group because I don't think Magic's app users will really care about that. Christian says, this does work with WordPress too. That's correct. This will work with any website builder whatsoever as long as you're able to install scripts on the website in the footer. All right, so all you need to do is just install scripts on the website in the footer. All right. Runagency.com said, I'm super excited to see this. Thanks for spending your time with us. Well, that's not a question, so, but you're welcome. Runagency.com also said, this is probably the training I needed to be on. Also, not a question. I don't understand why you guys always just leave comments in the question section. There's a chat section for your comments. You want to know what goes in the question section? Questions. All right, anyways, runagency.com said, there is a training on the page. Correct. You'll be able to actually find all these training videos that we've actually done right inside Magic's app in the training tab. That's essentially why I'm making these videos. But yes, you'll be able to find them right inside the Magic's app software in the training tab. Joe said, how do you use Zapier with Link Wizard? What can you do? That is also not a question that's pertaining to Magic's app, so I'm not going to answer that here. I will answer that on the Link Wizard training. Joe also said, Magic option makes it so that pop-ups don't open. Is there a workaround? Possibly, I'll have to go and expect that and inspect that and look and see what's actually happening and see what you're doing, what your use case is, and some of the particulars there. What happens sometimes, like even whenever you submit forms on ClickFunnels, people expect the stuff to get passed to the next page, and it doesn't essentially just get passed to the next page because it's not external redirecting, it's all internal redirecting. So the data is actually being posted into a server, and then the server itself is then rendering up a new page instead of just the browser sending you from this page to that page, all right? So it's kind of a completely different mechanism on how things work. And I'm assuming you're also talking with ClickFunnels, and like I said, I use ClickFunnels not because it's the best software in the world, but because I have a boy crush on Russell Brunson, and they do some really weird things sometimes inside their software, and sometimes it's kind of hard to get things to work with ClickFunnels, because if we get it to work specifically with ClickFunnels, then it doesn't work on all the other standardized page builders or just on normal websites. So like anything though, if there's ever any issues and you ever have any problems, you can always just come into the chat bot and just click this chat now button, click on this menu, click on customer support, and submit a bug, and just submit your issue. Make sure you fill out all the information there. That will go directly to our engineers, and we'll check it out and do whatever we can to actually fix it. And we typically have pretty fast turnaround. Runagency.com said, no, not me, no money wasted. Okay, great. Runagency.com also said, I'm trying to make money. Great. Simon said auto. Not sure what that means. Runagency.com said, can you go back to show us the whole script thing again? I'm not really sure what you mean by that, but if you're wanting to know the whole script thing is really easy. Once you create your Zap, you're just going to come here to the script and you're going to copy it, and then you're just going to go to your website builder, your page builder, and you're going to go actually wherever you need to go to paste the script in the footer of the website. For me, it's right here because this is the body tracking code. The body is the footer. The head is the header. Everything else is the footer. The head is the header. Everything else is the footer. All right? So you're just going to actually go in and paste that inside there, just like that, and then you're done. All right? Now, if you're not using ClickFunnels, if you're using some other website builder, it may be a little bit different than you. If you're using WordPress, if you're using WordPress, then you can just go in and find where you actually need to stick the scripts in the footer. If you don't know how to do that, there's actually a WordPress plugin that is called Header and Footer Scripts. You can just install that, and then you can just put it right in the footer. So just make sure you always put it in the footer. Runagency.com said, is that only for Facebook business pages or personal ones? I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. So this has nothing to do with Facebook. This is for your landing pages. So Magic Zap has nothing to do with Facebook whatsoever. So I'm not quite sure what that means. Runagency.com also says, what if you have multiple people that you are sending it to? So I think I kind of went over that already. So I think I kind of went over that a little bit already. This is specifically meant for you to send to multiple people. Yes. So all you need to do is actually change the data. And that Joe, you asked, what can you do with Magic Zap? Well, or what can you do with Link Wizard? Well, that's one of the reasons that Link Wizard has a that's one G Money says runagency.com must rewatch this training. All right. So, Joe, you asked kind of what can you do with Link Wizard in Zapier, and that's one of the features of Link Wizard. What you can actually do with Link Wizard is you can create group links, and those group links you can actually go in, and from an automation you can create a short link, and that short link can be your personalized link, your link with all the dynamic data, and then you can shorten that link and then send that out through your chat bot, or send that out through your text message, or send that out through your actual email. And then whenever the user gets it, they see that short link, and they can click on that short link, and inside that short link is encapsulated all that parameterized data, so they can land on your landing page and they can get the complete dynamic experience. Tony said, I came in a little late. Will this be recorded? Absolutely not. Simon said, all clear. G Money, Do we need to already have the data stored on our end in order to push it to Magic Zap? Yes, of course. So we are assuming, so Magic Zap is not going to, you know, magically find out data about anonymous pieces of traffic. That would be awesome. It would be a huge privacy violation. It would be awesome if you could do that. But no, Magic Zap will not just magically find out data about random pieces of traffic. Magic Zap is actually used in your process. I'm sure a lot of you guys understand, one, I'm not a marketer, but it's not my thing. I'm not a salesperson, but even in my sales process, you know, I sell lots of different stuff, and most of the time, you don't just get a random cold piece of traffic that just comes and buys your stuff. Most of the time, you gotta have a little fire or a blowtorch, you know, depending on how much money you make, you have like a heating pad, or you got a fire, or you got a fucking blowtorch, or you got a fucking star called a sun, and somehow you gotta take that cold piece of traffic and you have to warm them up to get them to trust you, to get them to like you, to get them to get emotionally connected to you so that they'll buy your stuff. All right, and through that process of warming these people up, you collect pieces of information from them. You collect all the information that you need. I mean, if you run a business, you would know that's called pre-qualification, right? You've got to pre-qualify people. And in that pre-qualification process, you start to collect their information. If you don't do that, I'm just going to tell you, you don't know what the fuck you're doing, or you don't sell something valuable that actually costs a lot of money, all right? Point blank. You have to do that pre-qualification process. And that, if not, like I said, you don't know what you're doing, because you're going to get a bunch of dumbass people who are not your ideal client to purchase your stuff, and then you're going to be fucking miserable, and you're going to be like, man, I wish fucking these dudes are idiots, or these dudes don't even need my service, you know? I fix motorcycles, and this dude has a boat. All right, you got to pre-qualify people to make sure that you're actually getting your perfect customer avatar, the actual people that you want to work with, the actual people who are going to buy your stuff, to actually buy your stuff. In that pre-qualification process, you collect as much information as you can, and then guess what? You're going to take that information that you get, and you're going to use that to your advantage with Magic Zap to create these dynamic landing pages to increase your conversions. All right, so hopefully that answers your question, G Money. Simon says, yes. Darren says, John, I'm in network marketing with a company that hosts my website for me. What is the best way to use your software for my business? Do I need to create/host my own site also? No, you don't, Darren. So as you can see, I use ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels, they host my website for me. All right, I don't host it myself. They host it for me. All you need to do is make sure that you can actually install a script on your website in the footer. Most likely you are going to be able to do that, because pretty much everybody allows you to actually do that. All right? So hopefully that answers your question. Simon says, what happens if the user has cookies turned off? Then we won't be able to actually cookie their data, because the browser keeps us from doing that. So if the user actually has cookies turned off, then Magic Zap won't be able to store a cookie, because the browser will not allow cookies to be stored. All right? So what that means, all that means is that Magic Zap will still work, but it just means if the user comes back to the URL later, just your main domain or your main website without the parameterized data, then the website won't be dynamic. So you can easily get around that by doing what I did. If you notice, what I did is inside my little code, what I did inside my little code was I had a fallback, all right? So if you look inside my little code, inside company, I put a fallback, all right, for your stupid company. Inside name, I could also put a fallback, hey friend. All right, so now if they come back to my website and they didn't have cookies on, then it's just gonna say, hey friend. If they did have cookies turned on and you have cookies turned on inside Magic Zap, it will replace that friend with their actual name. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question. Tony, he says, where are these questions coming from? I'm on Facebook group and I don't see them. They're coming from real live people, Tony. So these questions are coming from real live people, either on the Zoom call or watching on Facebook. Christian says, how to connect to a database of names and emails, for example. Well, where is that database stored? So I would need a more specific use case. So I'm going to need a more specific use case to know where your database is stored. And that's really outside the realm of Magic Zap. So like in your autoresponders, for example, your autoresponder, almost every autoresponder in the world, they allow you to use merge fields, and your data is right there inside the merge field. So you're just going to inject those merge fields inside your link. Text in bulk. Text in bulk has merge fields. Like pretty much every CRM in the world where you have data stored in that CRM gives you merge fields so that you can reference that data. So you're just going to pull it from there. Hopefully that answers your questions. If not, let me know. Simon says, in auto, do you need one zap per data, i.e. phone, or can one zap cover all data? One zap could cover all data for sure. So you can have one zap that covers all data, but you should. I would suggest having multiple zaps because it's going to be a little bit complex. So I would suggest having multiple zaps, but one zap could cover everything. But I would definitely suggest having multiple because it's just going to make it easier for you to know what to go edit and when to go edit something. And Christian says, already answered. Great. And that does look like it's all of your questions.
No, people have asked in the chat, Zoom chat.
No, there's no questions there. So that looks like it's all of your questions. I don't think that there's any more questions from you guys or girls or transgenders. So if you guys don't have any other questions. Sometimes it really sucks to have a wife. I really hate it sometimes. I think right after this video I'm getting divorced.
That's a funny guy. I like it.
So,
I like it.
Rent Agency says, or G Money says, if I were to collect data via a form, how quick can that info get pushed into Magic Zap? For example, after I collect the data, can I send them to a page and trigger Magic Zap in one go? Yeah, I mean, Magic Zap is instant, so it's an instant thing. As soon as you actually get the data, so like for example. Once you collect data from the form, yeah, sure. What you're going to have to do is once you collect data from the form, you're going to have to then, when you redirect them to the next page, you're going to have to include that data that you just collected from the form. You're going to have to include that in the redirect to the next page, and then yes, Magic Zap will automatically grab that, and then it can automatically fire off your automation and trigger off your automation. In ClickFunnels, it's a little bit tricky to do, but it's not so hard. In ClickFunnels, you just actually, like if you were to want to do it in ClickFunnels, what you would do inside ClickFunnels is what you would do inside ClickFunnels is you would just actually add an extra step in between these two steps, and it would be a blank step that has nothing but a little piece of code, and that code would actually pull the data from local storage that ClickFunnels just stored, and then it would put that data into your link and then redirect them to your actual thank you page so that any data coming from this form can be passed as a URL parameter to this thank you page. It can be done, so for sure can totally get done, but Magic Zap is totally instant. All right, so Tony, I see you got your hand up. Is there something particular you want to ask, Tony? Okay, I see you put your hand down, or it's still up. Is there something that you wanted to ask, Tony, or is everybody good? I think everybody's good. Everybody's good. Great. Well, happy Saturday. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. I'm going to go and enjoy the rest of my Saturday as well. And then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll just update those other little videos that didn't work so great here. So you guys have a great day. If you need anything from me, hopefully you know how to get a hold of me.